office.
He's serious old, man.
We have expanded departmental efforts to solicit and incorporate feedback from personnel across all components and all levels, work to ensure that every employee works in a high-quality facility, made new resources available across the department.
So that was a lie.
For employee mental health and well-being, and earlier this week, facilitated long overdue pay fairness for TSA personnel. Our department and this Congress need to work together.
Wait, what is going on here?
As partners to address the threats and challenges America faces. We must fix our broken immigration system, fund the continuing protection of local communities, disrupt and dismantle transnational criminal organizations, and implement the latest technologies to advance our mission. Americans are safer today on the border, in the air, at sea, across the country, and around the world because of the Department of Homeland Security.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Serving with the personnel of DHS is the greatest honor of my life. I look forward to continuing to work together on their behalf, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The chair now yields to the gentleman from California, Mr. McClintock.
Mr. Secretary, what is the maximum number of illegal migrants you believe we should admit into this country?
Wait for it.
Congressman, it is our responsibility to enforce the laws that Congress has passed, and that is indeed what we are doing.
Here it comes.
Individuals who do not have...
So is there a limit? Yes or no?
Congressman, individuals who make a claim for relief under our law...
He's serious old, man.
...and who
well,
do not
you've already released more than 2.1 million illegal immigrants into this country since you took office. That's a population the size of the state of Nebraska.
What?
While the Border Patrol has been consumed by taking names and changing diapers at the border, 1.5 million known gotaways have illegally entered the country as well. That's an additional illegal population the size of the state of Hawaii. So once again, I would ask you, what is the limit, or is there one?
For it. Here it comes.
Congressman, last year we expelled or removed approximately 1.4 million people who did not have a legal basis to remain in the United States, the largest number in recent history.
How? Hold on, bro.
Well, actually, you testified that 72,000 illegal migrants were removed in 2022. But in 2019, there were 267,000 removals. So removals are down under your administration by more than 75%.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Meanwhile, in 2019, there were 458,000 border encounters, yet under your policies, we're now up to 2.3 million.
Stop it.
Encounters. That's 5 times as many. So while encounters were up 5 times, removals are down by 75%. How do you account for this?
Congressman, a few points. Number one, our approach of expanding lawful pathways for people to reach the border and delivering consequences for those who arrive at our border irregularly is working. The number has dropped. You will also recall, Congressman, that last year, Title 42, the Public Health Authority, was in place, and under that authority, we could not remove individuals, but expel them.
Again, I'm short on...
What is he doing?
On time. You announced the CB1 app this year. It allows migrants to bypass the southern border and enter directly into the United States at ports of entry. This program began with up to 1,000 illegal migrants a day. It's been amped up to as many as 1,500 a day. That's more than 540,000. That's the population equivalent of adding a new state of Wyoming every single year.
Stop it.
That's why the numbers are dropping. Instead of them coming in to the southern border, you're bringing them directly into ports of entry. So please don't dissemble. Now, I've got a very important concern for the people of my region.
Oh, my God!
In January, a family of 6 people were executed in the rural town of Goshen. That's not far from my district. According to the Tulare County Sheriff, it was a cartel hit. The victims ranged from age 72 down to a 10-month-old. who was shot in his mother's arms. 2 weeks ago, the FBI director warned us in this committee that the open border is a huge driver of cartel presence in the United States. Those were his words, huge driver.
Are you serious?
The Jalisco New Generation cartels now established hubs in Los Angeles, Denver, Phoenix, and Chicago. Millions have fled from Mexico to escape these conditions, and the cartels have followed them into the United States. So how long before we can expect the same kind of gun battles here as have become routine in Mexico? In this committee, that the open border is a huge driver of cartel presence in the United States. Those were his words, huge driver.
Are you serious?
The Jalisco New Generation cartels now established hubs in Los Angeles, Denver, Phoenix, and Chicago. Millions have fled from Mexico to escape these conditions, and the cartels have followed them into the United States. So how long before we can expect the same kind of gun battles here as have become routine in Mexico?
Congressman, we are taking it to the transnational criminal organizations, the cartels that peddle in death and destruction.
Okay.
To an unprecedented degree.
They're following the mass migration into this country. That's what the FBI director told us.
We have a number of lawful investigative actions and operations.
So that was a lie.
That are disrupting and dismantling those transnational criminal organizations.
Director Wray also testified that we have no idea how many terrorists are among the 1.5 million known gotaways that have entered under your policies, but that there's been a significant increase in terrorists apprehended at the border. When your administration abandoned Afghanistan, it released 5,000 terrorists that were being held at Bagram. 10 days later, one of them killed 13 U.S. service members at Kabul airport. Ray said, we don't know where the other 5,000 are, but it's clear to me that we are in growing danger of a coordinated terrorist attack because of your policies. Have you given any thought to how you're going to explain yourself when that happens?
Very good question.
Congressman, the safety and security of the American people is our highest priority. That is what is the genesis of the creation of the Department of Homeland Security.
Wait for it.
Obviously, it is not your highest priority. The numbers speak for themselves.
It most certainly is, Congressman.
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes the ranking member, Mr. Nadler.
Mr. Secretary, I want to address some of the outlandish claims my colleagues have made and put them to rest at the outset of this hearing. My Republican colleagues claim that the border is open. Is the border open, Mr. Secretary?
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
No, it is not.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The border is not open, and to say so is not only false, but is really an insult to the brave men and women of the Border Patrol who work every day to keep us safe.
Oh, wow.
Next, Mr. Secretary, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have been extremely focused on an exchange you had with Mr. Roy the last time you appeared before this committee. They claim that you lied to the committee about whether we have operational control of the border.
Look at this.
The Homeland Security Committee even wrote about it in Phase 1 of their investigation into potential impeachment. It is my understanding that DHS and its components use different definitions of the term operational control.
Are you serious?
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Defined operational control is, quote, the ability to perceive and comprehend the operating environment, mobilize assets, infrastructure, and barriers to prevent criminal activity, and respond to and resolve any illicit cross-border incursions.
Oh, wow.
For example, the U.S. Border Patrol previously defined operational control as the ability to detect and interdict illegal activity. CBP, in their 2020 U.S. Border Patrol strategy, close quote. Furthermore, in a May 2023 transcribed interview, Chief Patrol Agent Aaron Heitke of the San Diego sector affirmed that, quote, Border Patrol has operated under different definitions of operational control than what is listed in the Secure Fence Act. So, can you describe what happened in that exchange last year?
Ranking Member Nadler, the Congressman did not allow me to complete my answer.
So that was a lie.
The Secure Fence Act, specifically the statute, defines operational control as not having one individual cross the border illegally. Under that statutory definition, no administration has achieved operational control. Last year, we had approximately 1.7 million different individuals cross the border, the southwest border. And so under that definition, no administration, under the Secure Fence Act, no administration has achieved operational control. And
Are you serious?
we have provided data with respect to the number of encounters experienced at the southwest border every month to Congress.
Look.
Lastly, my Republican colleagues claim you are abusing your authority. However, Congress gave the executive branch wide latitude over immigration laws, including writing a provision in the Immigration and Nationality Act that allows for individuals to be paroled into the United States for urgent humanitarian or public benefit purposes. For more than 70 years, administrations of both parties have used parole for categories of people. Some of my colleagues have criticized these programs.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my...
As well as the ones recently implemented by the Biden administration for Haitians, Venezuelans, Cubans, Nicaraguans, alleging that parole is not being granted on a case-by-case basis. Is that particular criticism accurate, Mr. Secretary?
It's a fucking boy, little girl, thousands of dollars, anywhere from $3,000, $4,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to cross into the United States. But
are you fucking kidding me?
By the way, do you know there's 100% operational control on the border? 100% on the southern side. Nobody crosses the border without the cartel's permission. If you do, they will kill you. Every person who crosses the border does so after paying the cartels, because you will be killed otherwise.
Life's not fair, is it?
But often when they come, they'll cross and they'll end up at a stash house. I've been to those stash houses. I've been out on the midnight patrols with the Border Patrol. You go into those stash houses, and they're colored wristbands that they put on the illegal immigrants. And the colors correspond to how many thousands of dollars they paid and how many thousands of dollars more they owe. Often when they get here, the cartels will say, "Thank you for your X thousand dollars. We want Y thousand more."
What you think?
Tragically, it is at those stash houses in the United States where many of the sexual assaults occur. And so these immigrants, many of whom are young children, teenage children, when they get here, the Biden administration delivers them to their final destination. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and their administration are the last mile of the human trafficking network.
That's horrible.
But for the 14, 15-year-old boy who arrives in Atlanta, who arrives in New York, who arrives in Detroit, who arrives in Nashville, many of those 14 and 15-year-old boys owe thousands of dollars to the cartels, which means they arrive in your city. You might think Georgia is not a border state, but when teenagers are arriving in Atlanta, owing thousands of dollars to the cartels, they work for the cartels. And the cartels know who their family is and where their family is, and they risk their mother or father being murdered if they don't work for the cartels to pay off the cartels. The young women have it even worse. There are teenage girls who make the decision, I want to come to America, I want to come to the promised land. We've been a beacon of hope to millions throughout our history. They don't realize they are stepping into hell on earth.
This is a nightmare.
When the traffickers take them and then take them to a cartel facility in whatever city they end up in, where many of those teenage girls, still owing thousands of dollars to the cartels, have to work to pay off that debt by forced prostitution. Young girls forced into a life of sex slavery because the alternative is murder at the hand of the cartels.
That's horrible.
This is happening. The fact that Joe Biden doesn't want to talk about it, the fact that Kamala Harris claims it's not happening, the fact that the corrupt corporate media ignores it, it doesn't stop the fact that hundreds of thousands of people are suffering.
Wow. Let's do that again.
No.